Well, your king, your friend, has made a significant effort with his own peace plan. Here's what Tom Friedman said, writing in the New York Times. I would humbly suggest the Saudi king make 4 stops. His first stop should be to Al-Aqsa Mosque in East Jerusalem, the 3rd holiest site in Islam. There he, the custodian of Mecca and Medina, could reaffirm the Muslim claim to Arab East Jerusalem by praying at Al-Aqsa. From there, he could travel to Ramallah and address the Palestinian parliament, making clear that the Abdullah Initiative aims to give Palestinians the leverage to offer Israel peace with the whole Arab world in return for full withdrawal. And he might add that whatever deal the Palestinians cut with Israel regarding return of refugees or land swaps, so some settlements might stay in the West Bank in return for the Palestinians getting pieces of Israel, the Arab world would support. From there, King Abdullah could helicopter to Yad Vashem, the memorial to the 6 million Jews killed in the Holocaust. A visit there would seal the deal with Israelis and affirm that the Muslim world rejects the Holocaust denialism of Iran. Then he could go to the Israeli parliament and formally deliver his peace initiative. What do you think of that idea?
What if what Mr. Friedman says does not work?
That's the problem, isn't it?
You
can't take that risk if it doesn't work.
The issue is not for somebody who is not in the conflict to take risks for peace.
All right. So, but what's wrong with what Tom Friedman suggested? Have King Abdullah
this
at
is
his
theater. What
theater?
Theater. Well,
Anwar Sadat went to Jerusalem.
What did he make a peace for the Middle East?
He made a peace between Egypt and Israel.
All he could do was get Egyptian territory out of the Israelis. Somebody who tells you that it is my security that is the arbiter for peace. What is Israeli security? At one time in their studies that they make, or security study, they said that their security extends from the Indus River to the Atlantic Ocean. How is that conceivable? For a country of 3 million people or 4 million people or 5 million people to conceive of these ideas. My God, we just want to live our lives in our country, build our country, have our citizens achieve the educational and economic level that we think they deserve. Where did these grandiose ideas come from? I don't know how they develop these ideas. They are there to live as part of the Middle East. They must live with the Palestinians, not with the United States. They must achieve acceptance in the neighborhood that they have come to. They have come by force, but they cannot remain by force. They can only remain by acceptance. And this is what was offered to them on the table. Acceptance, normalization. A country as small as that has to have normal relations.
You know what they would say with respect. They would say that the suicide bombings continued, the violence against Israelis continued.
It continues because of the violence they perpetrate.
But also within Israel.
It continues because it is perpetrated by the violence that they use against the Palestinians.
Then beyond what the...
For one shot fired from a house in the West Bank, the whole house is razed and the family is driven out. Every time that some crazy from one of the militias in the West Bank or Gaza fires a Katyusha missile that hits a farm, or maybe sometimes it injures somebody, the whole section of the city that it came from is destroyed. The infrastructure is... Palestinians are living in misery. These are the most educated people in the Middle East. A man or a woman cannot know what their family is going to whether they can feed them, whether they can put them to school, whether they can clothe them, whether they can even see them grow up. What on earth would drive a girl of 16-year-old girl to put dynamite on herself and blow herself up? A 16-year-old girl. And she's a human being, just like the Israeli, just like the Saudi, just like the American, except despair. Despair, they see no way through for themselves to gain anything in life, except by doing these violent. They have closed every option for them to work as human beings with the dignity that this requires of human beings.